So hey guys, welcome to another ranking. This time I'm gonna go with easiest to hardest platinum trophies that I got. I have a total of 8, and yes, I know that's not a lot, but I'm not a completionist myself. I just do it if I really love a game, and when I finish the game, I'm not that far from getting the platinum trophy. And starting with the easiest one, I have to go with God of War 2018. Now this is a game that, unlike most of the games on this list, has difficulty options, and I decided to play this game on normal, and of course that made my journey much more accessible because most of the bosses in this game and enemies, they didn't give me much trouble, to be honest. In fact, I would say the hardest boss in this game, if you count, just mandatory bosses, are like the two brothers, and even then they probably only kill me like 5 times. So yeah, in my eyes that's a very small amount of deaths to a boss, and even the final boss took me like 2 tries. Everything was like a breeze. But this game does have some very challenging moments to get the platinum, especially when you go to Muspelheim or something. I don't know, it's very hard to say this name. Now here you have some crazy challenges, especially one where you have to kill 100 enemies in a row without dying. Now that was brutal, but if you ask me which one is the hardest trophy to get, it has to be 100% to kill all the Valkyries. Now most of the Valkyries are challenging, but none of them compare to to the final one, Sigrun. Now that is one of the hardest bosses I've ever fought in my entire life. I died 250 times to her in normal mode. Just think about that. I can't even imagine how hard she would be if I would have played in the hardest difficulty. I would probably give up. Now when it comes to annoying trophies in this game, there's definitely one that tops them all, like killing all the green birds from Odin or whatever. It was quite a nightmare to achieve. In fact, I got to a point where I basically gave up and had to use YouTube to help me find them all. Now that one was definitely a bit on the annoying side, but overall God of War Platinum was a very fun experience that I definitely recommend doing. Now at number 7 I have Elden Ring, and this is a game that I basically could have had a much easier experience, to be honest, because once I saw the reviews saying Elden Ring was the easiest From Software game, I basically nerfed myself by using the same weapon during the entire game and not using Ashes of War. Those were the laws that I put for my playthrough, which were kind of silly, to be honest. I could have enjoyed the game even more, but due to my nature of liking challenges, I just wanted to have a hard experience while playing the game, and so I played it like that. And it actually worked really well because I definitely got a few challenges in the game, mostly on the boss department. Godskin Duo, Godfrey, Radagon, Elden Beast, and especially, of course, Melania. They kicked my ass to absolute oblivion. I mean, definitely Melania was the hardest of the entire game, the hardest trophy to get. And when it comes to other trophies, most of them are just basically collecting stuff, and so of course in such a gigantic game I simply could not do it all by myself. So yes, I use YouTube again to find a few things, but in the end Elden Ring is actually a really fun platinum trophy, which is kind of a surprise because some From Software games have horrendous trophies to get. Especially I'm looking at you, Dark Souls 3, which I really wanted the platinum on Dark Souls 3 because it's such a game that I love so much, but some of the trophies are just mental. But luckily Elden Ring does not have that, so I did got the platinum and I had a smile on my face at the end. Next on this list, on number 6, I have Elden Ring Nightreign, and this is easily the hardest one to rank because I think at the beginning Elden Ring Nightreign is such a tough experience because you kind of have to become a speedrunner to play this game. And I play this game always multiplayer. I tried solo maybe twice, but I don't know, it didn't felt right. I kind of really wanted to play with other people, but the thing is I had no friends to play it, so I was always playing with random people that I had no idea who they were. And this game at launch, Jesus Christ man, you were playing with some players that were absolutely horrendous. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea what to do in the game, but I knew the movesets from the bosses extremely well, so I was pretty alright while fighting the bosses. But most of the players I had, man, they were bad at everything. And so the start of Elden Ring Nightreign was absolutely brutal. But when it comes to, getting the platinum trophy, is actually not that crazy when it comes to the things that it demands from you. Basically, you kind of have to kill every boss in the game, of course. And I think the hardest things was probably killing, at least one Night Lord using every character. Now I mostly use the character the Wilder, I can't say that I play that much with other characters, so when I had to play with every other character just to beat the same boss, it was a bit demanding to say the least. And there's another trophy that kind of kicked my ass big time, which was to defeat 3 different Night Lords in a row. That one was also quite challenging. But again, this is a very hard game to rank in here because like the beginning was so insane, and it's also hard to rank because you don't depend just on yourself, it really depends on your team. So you can be extremely lucky and have incredible teammates and you can kill the bosses like it's nothing, or you can have the worst time of your life if you're put with two terrible players that have no clue what they're doing and you're gonna die every single time. And at number 5 I have Sekiro, and this is a game that is known for being extremely hard. It's considered by most people one of the hardest games ever made, but to be honest, you know, if I saw my ranking video about all the From Software games, I put Sekiro at, I don't know, maybe 4th or 5th, I don't remember. But I'm going to leave a link at the end for you to see if you guys want to see that video in case you haven't seen it. And the reason is because I adapted pretty well to Sekiro. The game wasn't like crazy hard for me. It was hard, definitely, don't get me wrong. There are some mini bosses that are insane, and definitely, you know, the final bosses like Ishin and Demon of Hatred were absolutely brutal. But most of the bosses up to that point really didn't give me any trouble at all. You know, not even Genishiro. I beat like Genishiro in 4 or 5 tries. Most of the bosses were really simple for me. I don't know why, but I don't know. I just adapted really well. And when you play this game a second time, you're gonna be blown away by how much easier the game is. Like seriously, for you to get the platinum trophy on this game, you have to do like 4 endings, if I'm not mistaken. So I did 4 entire playthroughs on Sekiro, and the second, third, and fourth playthroughs were a complete joke. Like in one of them I got to the final boss having died only once. That's how easy it becomes, because eventually like you get good at this game. When it comes to boring trophies, now there is one in particular which was the last trophy that I get, which was acquire all skills. Now this was boring to infinity to get because I had to kill like the same enemies over and over again to get, you know, enough XP or whatever it is to be able to get those skills. And man, that took forever. And honestly, I wish that didn't exist, because this is a really cool platinum to get as well. Now it's time for number 4, and I have Cuphead. Now this is a game that I absolutely love to infinity. Cuphead is an incredible game. Now this is also another game that is extremely known for being extremely hard, and I have to agree, this is a very, very hard boss, and I struggle with pretty much most of the bosses. I think only the first and the second one are very easy. Outside of that, every single boss in this game can give you problems. I think the one that killed me the most on my first playthrough was the dragon with the 3 heads or something. And when it comes to getting the platinum, like you have a few really tough things, like you need to get like the A rank on I think it's all of the bosses, and you also have to beat the game on expert mode. So if the game is already hard as hell in normal, when you play the game in the hardest difficulty, it's gonna make you lose your mind. And what might be just one of the craziest challenges in the game, you have to beat all the levels in pacifist, which means you cannot kill a single enemy to defeat all the 6 levels. Now this one was pretty insane. So yeah, Cuphead in the end was quite the challenging platinum to get. Now at number 3 I have Liza P, which is a game that now you can, you know, choose the difficulty, but when it came out, my god, not only did you not could choose, you know, the difficulty, but also this game was so brutal. Like this game was nerfed pretty bad, like trust me. And at launch this game was one of the hardest experience I've ever had in a game, period. Like serious, Liza P was insanely hard, like brutal to infinity. And one of the biggest examples I think you can see right away at the beginning when it comes to, you know, being nerfed was Andrews. Like Andrews was such a jump in difficulty for me in this game. I got stuck on that boss for so long, and now they changed that boss so much. And this game is not just the bosses, man. This game is the enemies. Like there are some areas in this game that will completely melt you and destroy you over and over again. Like there's a few clowns, and if you play this game, you know right away which ones I'm talking about. One in specifically in, you know, round 7 that will make you lose your mind. He's harder than most bosses in this game, but even like the bosses are also extremely insane. Like Lashazia was one of the hardest bosses I've ever faced, and Nameless Puppet is like top 3 probably hardest bosses I played in any game ever. So yeah, Liza P from beginning to end was pretty much torture. But it was a game that I absolutely loved to platinum. There are a few trophies that were, you know, that I simply could never ever guess by myself. So yes, I use YouTube to help me, but I had a blast with this game. And if you never played Liza P, man, it's a game that I recommend 100%. Now for number 2, I decided to go with Hollow Knight, and I kind of feel a bit bad for putting this game here because like I bought the game with all the DLCs right away. You know, I haven't played this game at launch, so you know I'm gonna count the DLCs here. So I don't know if this is a good idea. I do apologize, but I don't know, that's the way I play the game, and I'm taking into consideration all the DLCs as well. And of course that makes an insane difference, because let's be honest, the main game is not really that hard. I had like one boss in the entire game that like gave me problems, like serious problems. It was one of the dream bosses, I think, you know, the little guy that has like orange ghosts. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. That one was insanely annoying. And then you have like the 3 Colosseums. Those are extremely hard, you know, like you have the Trial of the Fool and something like that. And like the third one is absolutely crazy, man. Like I died so many times in that Colosseum, it was bonkers. But you know, let's be realistic here. The DLCs is where most of the difficulty is. Like there are some insane bosses like Zote and Pure Vessel, and you have of course Pantheon 5, which was one of the hardest things I ever had to do in a video game ever. Like you have to defeat like over 40 bosses without dying once, and the final boss is Absolute Radiance, which is easily one of the hardest bosses in any game ever. So I eventually got to a point that I quit, and I only got back to, you know, trying to get that trophy a few months later, and I finally achieved it. But man, this was one platinum trophy that I was so close of giving up. So yeah, absolutely brutal platinum trophy to get, but absolutely incredible game as well. And for my number 1, I have Bloodborne. And yes, I know it's a ridiculous choice, Bloodborne. Like with all the experience I have in these games, if I would have played all these games like right now to get the platinum again, now Bloodborne would probably be, I don't know, at 5th or 6th, something like that. I know that Bloodborne is nowhere near the hardest game on this list. It's absolutely ridiculous, but the reason why it's here, there are actually 2, because Bloodborne was my first From Software game, which means a lot, and also because I played Bloodborne after spending like 12 years in a row without playing video games, and I decided to get as my first video game Bloodborne. So yeah, that was an insanely stupid idea, and I almost gave up this game so many times, especially right away at the start. Yharnam is absolutely brutal, and you know, the first bosses that you can find will absolutely melt you over and over again. I had insane problems with the Bloodstar Beast because of the poison mechanic, and then I found Parl way too early, and he completely destroyed me to the point that I gave up and only came back much later. But you know, if you're gonna talk about the real difficulty of Bloodborne, you have to talk about the Chalice dungeons. Now you have to beat all 5 of them to get the platinum trophy, and my god, man, there are some of the most insane enemies in here, and some bosses that will completely melt you and make you want to destroy your controller into pieces. Like I also am guilty of that, because I decided to do the Chalice dungeons and finish them at level 75 because I did not want it to be over level for the final boss. And let me tell you, trying to finish the Chalice dungeons at level 75 is something I definitely do not recommend. It's absolutely insanity. I mean, just for you to get an idea, there's this, you know, cursed dungeon that will get your health to half, and you have to fight, you know, the watchdog of the Oral Lords and Amygdala, and they like kill you in one hit to pretty much every attack they have. It's insanity. And the same happens in Depth 5. That's where things go absolutely insane. Like normal enemies, they will kill in one hit, and in particular, like this boss, the Headless Bloodletting Beast, this was the boss that killed me the most in any game ever. I spent 4 days on this guy and died a total of 350 times, and yes, I counted them all. And it was mostly because of the hitboxes and of course the insane damage. I mean, it would kill me in one hit, but I think the hitboxes in this boss are a little bit wonky, even though I do like him a lot, don't get me wrong, it's a very cool boss. But man, I don't know, man, I don't know if, I don't know about these hitboxes on this specific boss. But I defeated the queen, I got my first ever platinum trophy, and until today it was still the hardest one that I had to get. And so that is my list of the easiest to hardest platinum trophies. Now if you want, tell me in the comments please which one was the hardest platinum trophy that you ever got, and I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and as always, I see you in the next one. Stay well, bye bye guys.